Hi, and welcome to PowerViews. I'm Dan McDade, your host and president of PointClear. On PowerViews, I have the privilege and the pleasure to talk to some interesting and knowledgeable experts who offer solutions to some of today's toughest sales and marketing challenges. My guest today is Michael Brenner. Michael is Vice President of Marketing and Content Strategy at SAP and the Managing Editor for SAP Business Innovation Site. And he's also the author of B2B Marketing Insider, and coverage on that blog includes content marketing, demand generation, mobile strategy, mobile marketing, sales alignment, search marketing, social media, etc. At SAP, Michael's challenge is to transform social business and content marketing to significantly reduce cost per acquisition on new customers. Michael, welcome to PowerViews.
Thanks. Great to be here.
Thanks a lot for joining me today. Well, let's start out with just a real general question, and that is, if as you look ahead to the balance of 2013, which is, to me, it's amazing. Tomorrow's May already, but if you look ahead to the balance of 2013, what are the challenges that, most companies are seeing in sales and marketing today?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge we're facing is that, our buyers are, they're spending a lot of time not looking at the content that we create. They're spending a lot of time, in many ways filtering out all of the things that we're trying to do to get their attention. I call it the battle for customer attention. I'm probably not the only one who uses that term, but, the amount of information that's just swirling around out there, the number of social networks that we're all participating in, the amount of content that's flying across those, and it's a real challenge, I think, for businesses, whether you're in marketing or sales or whatever role that you play, to reach those consumers and grab their attention and hopefully convert them into your funnel.
Yeah, that's saying something, because I was reading an article this morning about SAP. It happened to be in the USA Today, and it was about the relationship with the San Francisco 49ers, and both on the recruiting and on the assessment side of things, as well as on the kind of the fan experience side of things. There's an awful lot going on that I don't think the average person probably even knows is happening. And I wanted to ask a question that, I think sometimes, at least my opinion, is sometimes people confuse the availability of information to buyers today with, that we don't need salespeople anymore, and salespeople are not as important in the process. And particularly for, a sales such as the ones that you guys deal with every day, salespeople and having one-to-one contact is still extremely important. Would you say you agree with that?
I actually agree completely. I often in presentations use the great quote that I love from Peter Drucker, who says that the aim of marketing is to make selling superfluous. And I always say, as a former salesperson, that doesn't mean it's the aim of marketing to make salespeople superfluous. The aim of marketing is to assist salespeople. The aim of sales is to enable buyers to buy, and that it's that personal connection. It's the desire for a salesperson to establish trust that ultimately leads to effective sales. And so, that's how I think we can work together. So, yeah, absolutely agree with you.
One of the things that kind of tie into that is that I look at, and I almost hate to use the expression alignment of sales and marketing because it just seems so trite, and I know that I think I saw an article that dated back to 1993 that had that headline, but is that one of the first things that I think is important when you're aligning marketing and sales is for them to have a common definition of a lead, and I see that as missing in many organizations. And do you feel that that's important, and what else do you feel is important in the alignment of marketing and sales?
Well, the first thing is that I think almost every survey I've ever seen about senior marketing leaders regarding what's your greatest challenge is the alignment of sales. So, yeah, it's an overused term, but because it's a problem as old as sales and marketing itself. Right. As long as there will be sales and marketing people, will have problems with alignment. So, yeah, it's definitely a big problem. It's a huge challenge. I think the definition of a lead is, I think the second thing that marketers will say is that their greatest challenge is either producing enough leads or producing the right kind of leads. And I think that those two items will flip-flop depending on the sort of state of the economy, right? Or even at the time of year. I think in the beginning of the year, it might be about enough leads, and at the end of the quarter, at the end of the closing period, it's about the right kind of leads. But yeah, it's absolutely a problem, and having that definition, it's just about speaking a common language, which is often what separates marketing and sales.
Yeah, I know years ago there was a company that the marketing department generated $15,000 point solution leads, and the sales department was only interested in $250,000 enterprise-wide deals, and they blew through $100 million trying to figure out why they weren't being successful. So this is unfortunately not a problem that's gone away. It's a problem that still occurs today. Yeah. What about from the standpoint of, as you look forward to, the balance of 2013 and even looking into 2014, what are some of the top things that you would have sales and marketing people be looking at, to be more successful in the future, perhaps instead of redoing what they've done in the past?
Well, I mean, one of the things that we're having a lot of conversations about with our sales colleagues is around the whole topic of social selling. What we're finding, and it's generally inside sales before our AEs are looking at how do they reach people that they're not able to reach in traditional methods today, and so social selling seems to be the topic that's coming up. I'm not exactly sure how they always define it. So the first question I ask is, what do you mean? And that conversation quickly gets down to a conversation around content, which is one of the roles that I play here in the organization, as well as the topic of personal branding, which is something that, it's interesting because it's something that I've sort of been interested in for a long time. It's relevant for every professional, I think that's alive today, because of the way that we're now tuning out, ABC, NBC, CBS, and we're tuning into our Facebook news feeds, and so I get my news from you, and vice versa. And so personal branding is becoming important. So it's the intersection, I think, of those three things: social, content, and personal branding, that are becoming really important. And again, not just for sales and marketing people, but really for business pros and especially small business owners, entrepreneurs. They totally are getting these three things as a way to get their ideas out into the world. And I think it's something that is starting to hit the minds of salespeople as well.
Do you see, based on that comment, do you see the 800-pound gorilla being LinkedIn, or how do you kind of rank the platforms that are out there to help with social marketing?
It's absolutely LinkedIn. I mean, it's one thing I think that LinkedIn has done better than anyone. Well, aside from the fact that they actually monetize very well, I think related to some of the other social platforms. But they own the professional network for most of us, and so. As a social selling tool, especially in the business space, I think it's absolutely the 800-pound gorilla for sure.
Well, what if we missed, before we wrap up here, what else has been on your mind that you think our audience might enjoy hearing about?
Yeah, I mean, if there are marketers out there in the audience, my advice, as a former salesperson, is always, walk a mile in your customer's shoes. Sales is ultimately the customer of marketing, in my mind. And when I was in sales, I had marketing people come along on sales calls, and we brought the product people in to do demos, and those kinds of things are happening less and less, and I think that's part of what the sales and marketing divide is all about. It's just when you rally around a customer need, it's easy to find what that common language is, and so reach across the aisle, grab a drink, grab some dinner, and make a friend with your sales or your marketing colleague.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. In fact, I just finished an article saying if you're in sales, have a good friend in marketing and just see what they'll do for you. So I totally agree with that. Michael, what's the best way for the audience to get in touch with you if they have a follow-up question?
Yeah, I mean, I'm active on most of the social networks. My blog is b2bmarketinginsider.com. You can get me on Twitter @BrennerMichael, also on Facebook and LinkedIn as well.
Okay, great. And I've read both your blog as well as the SAP blog and very much enjoy it, so I recommend to the audience that they check it out. So thanks again for joining me. And for now, this is Dan McDade signing off from another edition of PowerViews. Thank you for watching.